The Tao stirred, and in that single breath between heaven and earth, rain became blades, karma became thunder, and even gods were forced to choose who would fall. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. The instant Wang Lin vanished, countless tentacles surged out from the void, coiling around the transfer array and tearing it apart in a violent collapse. With Li Yunzi and the others holding back the moongazer serpent master, Flamespark shut his eyes and roared seal. Fragments of the celestial realm trembled violently, then surged inward from every direction, converging upon the moongazer serpent like an inescapable cage. The serpent let out a furious, earth-shaking roar as its massive body lunged forward. Rage flooded its being. Yet beneath that fury lurked a terror and instinctive dread toward Master Flamespark that pushed it to the brink of madness. Just as it slammed into the celestial fragments, it suddenly halted. Its enormous eyes filled with fear as it stared ahead. The space before it had already collapsed. From within the tearing void, endless frigid winds howled, and out of that abyss a figure slowly emerged. The figure was indistinct, blurred beyond recognition. One could not discern his features, only that he was male. Calm and unhurried, he stepped out from the void as though walking through still water. The moment he appeared, the expressions of the heavily injured Li Yunzi and the others changed drastically. Even Li Yunzi, arrogant as he was, felt his heart tremble. A trace of reverence surfaced in his eyes. It's him. Master Flamespark actually invited him. The remaining four immediately grew solemn, their gazes turning respectful. Master Flamespark's eyes shone with ecstasy. The indistinct figure advanced toward the moongazer serpent, whose colossal body began to tremble. An invisible aura emanated from the man, one that struck pure terror into the beast. The moongazer serpent slowly retreated. At that same moment, millions of kilometers away, Wang Lin's figure appeared. The instant he emerged, he turned back deep in thought. There must be a reason for the moongazer serpent's sudden change. Could someone have attacked it? The ancient god-child within wants me to bring a successor. If only my original body were still here, it might be worth attempting. But I don't know whether he truly intends to pass on his inheritance or if he seeks something akin to possession. I must tread carefully. I cannot act rashly. His gaze sharpened. Still, now that I've left the moongazer serpent, no one should be able to detect me for some time. A glint flashed in his eyes. In the next instant, he transformed into a streak of light and shot into the distance. Ripples spread beneath his feet, and before long he merged seamlessly with the world and vanished. Far across the northern domain, nearly at its opposite end, lay planet Qing Ling. On this day, a ripple appeared outside the planet, and Wang Lin stepped out from it. He gazed at the familiar cultivation world before him, a trace of melancholy surfacing in his eyes. I'm finally back. Taking a step forward, he turned into a beam of light and sped toward Qing Ling. Yet just as he neared, several powerful auras swept toward him filled with hostility. Wang Lin frowned, then quickly relaxed. Those divine senses locked onto him, but upon recognizing his presence, they withdrew just as swiftly. Moments later, more than 10 figures streaked toward him like meteors. Almost the instant Wang Lin set foot upon Qing Ling, over 10 members of the chosen immortal clan appeared before him. Their old ancestor stepped forward, his face lighting up with excitement. Benefactor, Wang Lin looked at them calmly. Was your journey here smooth? The old man inhaled deeply. Benefactor, it was smooth. However, along the way we heard that a Yao family in the All-Heaven star system has begun hunting you. Wang Lin shook his head. That matter is already past. Do not mention it again. Since you are here, settle down. I will enter closed-door cultivation for several months. Guard this place well. The old man nodded immediately. Wang Lin's figure flickered. Without another word, he vanished and reappeared atop Hengyun Peak. Everything remained as he had left it, the cave dwelling untouched. Stepping inside, he activated the formations at once. The entire area around Hengyun Peak was sealed. Then he sat down, closed his eyes, and began cultivating. Several hours later, night had fallen. Starlight blanketed the earth and silence reigned. Moonlight filtered through the cave entrance, its pale glow reflecting softly across the ground, serene and beautiful. Wang Lin exhaled a long breath of turbid air. Ever since entering the celestial realm, he had been constantly tense, never once able to truly rest. Not even within the moongazer serpent. But now here, on his own cultivation planet, he could finally relax. He lifted his gaze toward the night sky, beyond the cave, lost in thought. After a long while, he lowered his eyes and murmured, "The Yao family's pursuit won't end. I don't have much time." As he pondered, he slapped his storage bag. A massive furnace appeared, emanating an ancient, profound aura. A glint flashed in his eyes. He exhaled a strand of origin energy, which wrapped around the furnace and began refining it. "The longer I refine this furnace, the more of its power I can wield. But for now, I must first understand it." He inhaled sharply. The massive furnace shrank rapidly, turning into a streak of light that he swallowed whole. Behind him, a shadow flickered. Tarshan stepped out. Gravely injured, his gaze dim, he sat down and closed his eyes. Under Wang Lin's silent command, he began healing himself. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin once again opened his storage bag. Yao Bingyun, still sealed, appeared before him. The Karma whip bound her origin soul, while the soul flag wrapped tightly around her body. Hundreds of thousands of golden runes layered over her, sealing her completely. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. With a gesture, the golden runes rose one by one, illuminating the cave in a brilliant golden radiance. Beneath them lay the soul flag. Wang Lin extended his hand. The black mist surrounding her dissipated, fully revealing her body. Her clothes were tattered, her figure strikingly alluring. Her eyes remained closed, her face pale as death, as if her life could flicker out at any moment. Yet within her body, a vast amount of origin energy remained scattered, unable to merge with her origin soul. Wang Lin stared at her in silence, deep in thought. Refining her into a celestial guard is one option. But before that, I can borrow her power. A cold light flickered in his eyes. Raising his hand, he pointed at the space between her brows. Origin energy surged through his body and flowed into hers through his fingertip, forming a vortex within her. The vortex began devouring her origin energy, growing stronger with each passing moment. Wang Lin remained extremely cautious. Just as the vortex neared instability, he decisively withdrew it. Yao Bingyun's body trembled violently. Her already tattered garments were blown away as the vortex emerged, radiating dense origin energy. Wang Lin immediately opened his mouth and devoured it. The energy turned into mist, flowing into him. As it entered his body, his eyes shone brilliantly, a faint flush appearing on his face. His origin soul rapidly absorbed the stolen power. Time passed slowly. Dawn broke outside the cave. Sunlight spilled across the earth, dispelling the chill of night with gentle warmth. Inside, Yao Bingyun lay upon the ground. Bathed in sunlight, she appeared almost ethereal, her beauty tinged with an indescribable sorrow. Wang Lin's origin soul had labored through the entire night, greedily devouring and refining her energy. Gradually, his injuries healed. By the time the sun rose, his origin soul had fully recovered and grown even stronger than before. Exhaling a strand of grey mist, Wang Lin opened his eyes. Without hesitation, he pressed his finger once more between Yao Bingyun's brows. Origin energy surged again, forming a new vortex that continued absorbing the scattered energy within her body. Once I absorb all of her origin energy, my cultivation will rise significantly. Then, with further refinement of my domain, I can step into the second stage, the Nirvana Scryer realm. A strange light flickered in his eyes as he stared at her. The moment the vortex reached its limit, he pulled it out once more. A storm unlike any other swept across the all-heaven star system, leaving nearly every cultivator shaken to their core. The colossal, ferocious beast that had slaughtered countless cultivators had been captured alive by the Thunder Celestial Temple. Very few knew how such a feat had been accomplished, but the outcome alone was enough to send shockwaves through the entire star system. In that moment, the Thunder Celestial Temple's reputation soared to unprecedented heights. It eclipsed even the ancient families with their time-honored inheritances, becoming a towering symbol of authority within the all-heaven star system. Riding the momentum of this upheaval, the competition for the 108 celestial titles officially began. The celestial realm has collapsed, and the celestials are no more, but new celestials shall rise. Those granted celestial titles by the Thunder Celestial Temple will become the new celestials. Their families will ascend as celestial clans bearing a title that shall endure forever. During the war against the Alliance star system, every celestial will stand as a leader, and their families will be granted their own cultivation planets. The news of the Thunder Celestial Temple bestowing celestial titles had circulated long ago, yet only now was it becoming reality. This ignited a feverish excitement among all cultivators of the all-heaven star system. The core members of countless cultivation families set forth at once. With far too many contenders vying for the celestial titles, the Thunder Celestial Temple announced preliminary rounds across the 4 great domains. Messengers would be dispatched to each domain, selecting 108 candidates from each to advance to the final battle for the titles. Within a radius of 50,000 kilometers surrounding the Thunder Celestial Temple, a zone of absolute peace was established. Any who dared to fight within this boundary would see their entire family annihilated. The date of the grand competition was set 4 months from now. If this news was a storm, then what followed was nothing short of a heaven-shaking revelation. Once the 108 Celestials were chosen, the Thunder Celestial Temple would open the passage to the Alliance star system. War would begin. The entire all-heaven star system descended into frenzy. Countless cultivators burned with anticipation, awaiting the day they would carve their way into the Alliance star system. A suffocating killing intent blanketed the stars. Wang Lin, however, knew nothing of this. For the past 10 days, he had remained in closed-door cultivation. Throughout this time, he had been continuously absorbing the origin energy within Yao Bingyun. He refined and assimilated that vast energy bit by bit until it slowly became his own. To Wang Lin, Yao Bingyun was like a supreme elixir, one that steadily elevated his cultivation. Her reserves of origin energy were immense. Even after 10 days, he had only absorbed 30%. Yet that 30% alone had propelled his cultivation to the peak of the corporeal Yang stage. He now stood just 1 step away from the Nirvana Scryer stage. But that final step was like a chasm. It was not that he lacked origin energy, what he lacked was understanding, a comprehension of the heavens, a transformation of his domain. The domain of karma is far more profound than life and death. I cannot grasp it, Wang Lin murmured, a trace of confusion flickering within his eyes. Karma, karma. Nothing in this world escapes karma. It is everywhere, and yet it feels like nothing more than illusion. Whenever I try to seize its truth, everything dissolves into mist. As he continued refining Yao Bingyun's origin energy, he exhaled softly, his gaze drifting toward her. Karma. When I obtained the heaven-defying bead that was the karmic cause. Meeting Situ Nan was the karmic effect. Killing Teng Li was the cause, and Teng Huayuan destroying my family was the effect. Likewise, Teng Huayuan's actions became the cause, and my slaughter of the Teng clan the effect. It seems cause and effect are endlessly intertwined. What is an effect today may become a cause for another tomorrow. Wang Lin frowned deeply, the confusion in his eyes growing ever stronger. The domain of karma was vast, too vast. Even now, he could not fully comprehend it. It was nothing like the domain of life and death, which he had once grasped so clearly. Domain comprehension cannot be forced. Without the right opportunity, it is nearly impossible to achieve enlightenment. He sighed, attempting to abandon his thoughts on karma. Though simple in words, true understanding was impossibly difficult. I finally understand why cultivation becomes so arduous beyond a certain point. Origin energy plays a role, but what truly matters is comprehension. A bitter smile tugged at his lips. How does one deepen the karma domain? No matter how much I contemplate it, remains intangible, illusory, unreal. How can I make this understanding real? Though he told himself to stop, his mind refused to rest. Back in the demon spirit land, with ancient demon Bei Luo's help, I entered a mysterious state. In that state, I uncovered the flaw in the celestial slaughter art. As he murmured, his eyes slowly narrowed. In that state, I seemed able to see through all the Tao of the world. I split into countless selves, then merged back into one. It felt remarkably similar to when the All-Seer taught me that spell. A glimmer of light ignited in Wang Lin's eyes, growing brighter with each passing moment. The All-Seer's Tao is the Tao of the heavens. Within his divine sense, there existed countless All-Seers. Each one was proficient in only a single celestial spell. With my cultivation back then, that was all I could perceive. But now, looking back, each of those All-Seers did not merely wield a different spell. They each possessed a different Tao. Wang Lin's expression shifted as the realization struck him like thunder. He drew in a sharp breath, recalling the memories within the All-Seer. The more he pondered, the more certain he became. The All-Seer possesses countless Taos, but how did he obtain them? His eyes gleamed as another memory surfaced, the final words of his first celestial guard before being refined. I saw Master All-Seer take Sun Yun and devour him. He devoured him completely. Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes. Moments later, they snapped open, cold, resolute. His gaze locked onto Yao Bingyun as he spoke in a low voice. The Tao of karma is too elusive. According to what I glimpsed of the third step, all Tao of the heavens must ultimately return to their true origin. I do not know the origin of karma, but if I wish to make my domain tangible, I must devour. To devour another's domain, to comprehend the karma within it, to understand it, and then transform it into my own. A chilling light flickered in his eyes as he raised his hand and pressed a finger between Yao Bingyun's brows. However, just as his two fingers were about to touch Yao Bingyun's forehead, Wang Lin suddenly halted. He gazed at her pale, fragile face, his expression still, his mind sinking into silent contemplation. Devouring another's domain means taking all of their Tao and making it my own. Yet the Tao of the heavens is endless, and Taos are without bounds. If I begin to devour, it will set a precedent, one that will bind me to an endless path of devouring Taos in the future. And in the end, I would walk the same irreversible road as the All-Seer. Yet if I do not devour, I will never truly understand karma. It will remain elusive, intangible. So should I devour or not? It was rare, exceptionally rare for Wang Lin to hesitate for so long over a single decision. This was not compassion for Yao Bingyun. No, this was the pursuit of his own Tao. This step was of utmost importance. This was the choice of Tao itself. Cultivators spent their entire lives seeking the Tao. Each person's Tao was unique, shaped by their emotions, their experiences, their journey. It shifted, evolved, transformed without end. In truth, everything beneath the heavens could become a Tao. The All-Seer once claimed he possessed 3,600 incarnations, each wielding a celestial spell. But in my eyes, those 3,600 incarnations represent 3,600 Taos he has devoured. And yet, even after devouring so many Taos, he has failed to reach the third step, even after tens of thousands of years. But if I do not devour, I cannot grasp the domain of karma. It will remain vague, uncertain. Without direction, how can I continue my pursuit of the Tao? Uncertainty filled Wang Lin's face. Within his eyes, confusion and resolve flickered endlessly, colliding like waves. His right hand hovered above Yao Bingyun's forehead, trembling ever so slightly. Yet no matter what, he could not bring himself to press his fingers down. Time drifted by. The sun sank beyond the horizon. Day faded into night, and night gave way to dawn once more. 3 days passed. To Wang Lin, these 3 days felt like 300 years. Even his appearance seemed to have aged, worn by the weight of his thoughts. For 3 days his body did not move. Yet within him a storm raged violent and unceasing. Tao, what is Tao? These words escaped his lips countless times over those 3 days. It was as though he questioned not the heavens but himself. And with each repetition, the confusion in his eyes deepened. In the end, what is Tao? So immersed was he in his pursuit that he failed to notice the origin energy within his body spiraling into chaos. What began as a slow, steady flow gradually accelerated faster and faster until by the 3rd day, it surged like a storm on the verge of breaking free from all control. At last, the origin energy erupted from his body, forming a vortex of black and white. It spun slowly at first, then faster, resembling the interplay of yin and yang. Though intertwined, the two forces remained distinctly separate, yet perfectly balanced. The vortex grew stronger, faster, more violent. Yet Wang Lin remained utterly unaware, lost within his search for Tao. As his thoughts deepened, his origin soul slowly transformed, reverting from the ancient thunder dragon back into his human form. It sat down silently, raising one hand, as though pointing towards something unseen, yet never lowering it. It was as if it pointed toward Wang Lin's life, his entire journey in pursuit of Tao. At dawn, the first ray of sunlight fell upon planet Qing Ling. Mortals awoke from their slumber, resuming their simple, ordinary lives. Cultivators as always absorbed the yang spiritual energy of the rising sun. But today, something was different. The spiritual energy was unusually active, several times richer, more vibrant than before. Almost all cultivators sensed it instantly. Delight and astonishment filled their hearts as they rushed to find suitable places to cultivate. Soon some discovered that when facing northeast, the spiritual energy grew even denser, several times more concentrated. One by one, they began to fly toward that direction. The northeast of planet Qing Ling was Hengyun Peak. At this moment, countless cultivators gathered within 5,000 kilometers of the peak. They cultivated in silence, as though paying reverence to the mountain itself. For many a short moment of cultivation here was worth several days elsewhere. At the summit of Hengyun Peak, a phenomenon unfolded. Black and white gas swirled together, forming a vast image of yin and yang. It hovered above the peak, slowly rotating. From afar, beneath the clear blue sky, the black and white symbol shone brilliantly, like a divine painting etched across the heavens. It stirred the hearts of all who beheld it. This shock did not merely touch the mind. It resonated deep within the soul, spreading like ripples across their very being. A mysterious force emanated from it, pulling them in, leaving them unable to break free. What is Tao? At that moment, an ancient voice echoed within the souls of every cultivator on planet Qing Ling. The voice carried the weight of countless lifetimes, ancient, weathered, yet unyielding in its pursuit of truth. It bore an obsessive yearning to validate its own Tao. When it reached their ears, it struck them like thunder. And within each of their hearts, a question arose, unstoppable, irresistible. What is Tao? On Hengyun Peak, the cave surrounding Wang Lin crumbled into dust under a passing gust of wind. The fragments were scattered into the distance, vanishing into nothingness. The cave was gone. Only Wang Lin and the unconscious Yao Bingyun remained. His fingers still hovered above her forehead. Above them, the yin-yang symbol continued to rotate slowly, influencing the spiritual energy of the entire planet. Waves of energy spread outward, subtle yet profound. From beyond the planet, the sight was even more astonishing. The entire world of Qing Ling was shrouded in black and white, a breathtaking otherworldly spectacle. If a cultivator of the blood ancestors level were to pass by, they would be utterly shaken. This was known as Dream Tao by those of the second step. Legend spoke of a mortal named Peng Zhu who attained enlightenment within a dream. From that dream, he ascended to become an ancient celestial, recording tens of thousands of Tao hearts. He could see through the sun and moon, grasping truths beyond comprehension. Wang Lin remained lost, confused, immersed in the search for his Tao. It felt as though he had left his physical body, drifting upward into an endless void. Yet this was not his origin soul, for his origin soul still remained seated below. What is Tao? Within this strange state, he felt his body dissolve his existence, merging with planet Qing Ling itself. It was as though he had become the planet. Deep within a dense jungle, a 3-foot-long python coiled tightly around a small beast. With a subtle contraction of its powerful body, the sound of bones snapping echoed softly. Just as the python prepared to devour its prey, its body suddenly trembled. It raised its head, gazing into the distance. The cold, predatory gleam in its eyes faded, replaced by confusion. This is not Tao. A sigh drifted through the air like a passing breeze. Moments later, the coldness returned. Without hesitation, it devoured the small beast and slithered into the depths of the forest, disappearing into the unknown. Beyond the dense jungle, a winding road stretched through emerald mountains. Along it thundered a procession of carriages, their wheels humming against the earth. Each carriage was exquisitely crafted, adorned with fine materials that released a faint, lingering fragrance, an unmistakable air of wealth and refinement. The rhythmic clatter of hooves and wheels echoed through the valley until, without warning, the leading carriage came to an abrupt halt. From within, a young girl of 7 or 8 leapt down. She wore delicate silk garments, her cheeks soft and rosy like polished jade. Cradling something close to her chest, she carefully steadied herself before hurrying into the grass by the roadside. Kneeling, she gently set down what she had been holding. It was a small beast, its leg wrapped in bandages. "Little Black, go back," she whispered softly, her voice trembling with innocence and reluctance. Her small hand stroked its head with tender care. The creature lifted its gaze. There was something in its eyes, an uncanny awareness, as it looked at her with quiet depth. At that moment, the curtain of the carriage behind her was drawn aside, revealing a middle-aged man and woman. Their gazes rested upon the girl, filled with warmth and affection. A gentle breeze drifted past. The curtain fluttered lightly. Then, a strange confusion filled the eyes of the two within the carriage. It was not only them. Every mortal nearby seemed seized by the same dazed bewilderment. Even the girl herself faltered, her expression clouded. Only the small beast reacted differently. A low, hostile growl escaped its throat as it bared its teeth. As though forgetting its injuries, it leapt behind the girl, placing itself between her and the unseen threat. Raising its head toward the heavens, it let out a long, defiant roar. Fear burned in its eyes, but so did an unyielding will that refused to retreat. It did not even notice the blood seeping from beneath its bandages. The Tao of the heavens is endless. The path of Tao is boundless. A single act of kindness today becomes the seed of karma. In time, the cycle completes, and the fruit of that cause shall ripen. An ancient voice echoed across the world, imbued with profound insight. The small beast trembled, yet it did not yield. Its eyes, glimmering with awakening intelligence, remained fixed upon the sky. It sensed an overwhelming presence, one that could crush it utterly. And yet it refused to bow. A faint sigh drifted through the air, then faded. The beast's gaze grew muddled. Its mind, not yet fully awakened, could not grasp the meaning of that sigh. But in that fleeting moment, its vision blurred, and it saw. An elderly woman lay upon a luxurious bed, her body frail, her face etched with the deep lines of time. Yet beneath those wrinkles remained a gentle, enduring kindness. Though death hovered near, her eyes were clear. She smiled faintly and closed them. Suddenly from the heavens descended a massive, ferocious beast. It landed beside her, gazing silently before exhaling a cloud of white mist. The mist enveloped her, then drifted away. Little Black. The old woman's eyes opened once more. The vision shattered. The small beast blinked, its confusion deepening. The breeze passed. Everything returned to normal. The people beside the carriage regained their senses, unaware that anything had occurred. The girl, too, remained oblivious. She smiled once more, turning to the small beast. "Little Black, go home." In a humble village, a middle-aged woman stood angrily before a child, pointing at a shattered bowl as she scolded him harshly. The boy's eyes brimmed with tears. He stood silently aggrieved, not daring to utter a word. Nearby, a middle-aged man squatted on the ground, smoking from a pipe. He inhaled deeply as if wanting to speak, but in the end only sighed. Then, a breeze swept through. The woman's voice halted mid-scold. Her eyes filled with confusion. The man too froze. Only the child remained unaffected. Through quiet sobs he murmured, "Mother." The bowl was already cracked. Tao is like this bowl, flawed, fractured, capable of breaking at any moment. The ancient voice sighed once more, drifting through the world like a whisper carried on the wind. The confusion faded. The woman resumed her scolding, unaware of what had passed, her heart aching over the broken bowl. The man picked up his fallen pipe and took a long drag. Only the child stared wide-eyed at the distant sky. For a fleeting instant he thought he saw a figure walking into the heavens. He rubbed his eyes, but there was nothing. Deep within the mountains, a man in blue robes fled in terror, his face pale with fear. Behind him, a woman clad in black pursued relentlessly, her lips curled in hatred. Each time she drew near, her blade struck mercilessly, tearing flesh and drawing blood. Her laughter was sharp and bitter. "You corrupt official. You destroyed my family, yet today fate delivers you into my hands. If I do not kill you, I defy the heavens themselves." The wind came again. Confusion seized them both. Her blade hung in mid-air, unmoving. Another cycle of cause and effect. The ancient voice sighed, fading into silence. When the breeze passed, clarity returned. Without hesitation, the woman's sword fell. His head rolled. She collapsed to her knees, sobbing. "Father, mother, your child has avenged you." Rain fell upon a mortal city. Flowered umbrellas bloomed along the streets as people hurried past, their footsteps sending ripples across the shallow water. Ripple after ripple, endless, like karma itself, unceasing, ever unfolding, merging into the Tao. A sudden gust shattered the ripples, yet only for a moment. Soon they returned, as though they could never truly cease. In the distance, mournful funeral music drifted through the rain. A procession clad in white advanced slowly, bearing a coffin toward the city gates. Crying echoed through the air. Some tears were sincere, others were not. Some held grief, others concealed relief, or even quiet joy. Yellow paper fluttered to the ground, guiding the deceased along the path to the underworld. Death is the end of karma. All karma dissolves in death. The ancient voice spoke, uncertain, almost questioning itself. The cries fell silent for a fleeting instant. Then, as if having found no answer, the voice faded away. Within the imperial palace, ranks of soldiers stood in solemn formation. Before them stood a middle-aged emperor in golden robes, his presence heavy with unspoken sorrow. From the ranks stepped a general clad in armor, his face bearing a striking resemblance to the emperor. "Father, you are old. Do not cling so tightly." The emperor's sorrow deepened. A breeze passed through the palace, leaving confusion in its wake. What karma is this? The voice drifted onward, wandering the world, sensing the endless transformations of life. Wang Lin moved with the wind, seeking, questioning, struggling to comprehend his Tao. At times he was certain, at times doubtful, at times utterly lost. The Tao of the heavens had no end. To grasp it was nearly impossible. As he drifted, it was as though he entered a dream. In that dream, he became planet Qing Ling itself. He saw all. He heard all. He felt all. The birth of life, the passing of the old, parental love, lovers' gazes, reunions and partings, kindness and boundless evil. In the end, what is Tao? Wang Lin's confusion deepened. The more he saw, the less he understood. Spiritual energy across Qing Ling grew denser, yet within it lingered a trace of bewilderment. Those who cultivated it found themselves drawn into a mysterious state, their minds subtly guided, compelled to seek an answer they could not grasp. Time passed, endlessly. At sunset, in a quiet village school, a lone boy swept the courtyard after the others had left. A breeze stirred. He froze. Then, with sudden resolve, he set aside the broom and approached the teacher's house. Teacher, I have a question. The door opened. An elderly man stepped out, calm and wise. What is it? The boy met his gaze. Teacher, what is Tao? The old man waved his sleeve lightly. I teach the ways of men. Tao is not within my knowledge. The boy left in silence. Moments later he trembled, returning to himself confused. And so the question spread across the world, asked of scholars, sages and fools alike. All answered differently. None answered clearly. At last, by the riverside, an old man named Z stood in the rain, lost in thought. Nearby, a fisherman cast his net. With a shout of joy, the net was drawn in, teeming with fish, their bodies thrashing in desperate struggle. Their mouths opened, gasping for water. Their eyes filled with despair. Lightning seemed to strike Z's mind. This is Tao. I am the fish. The net is Tao. The river is heaven. And the fisherman is the hand that governs fate. A violent wind roared across the world. The fisherman dropped his net in terror. The wind condensed and became a man. Wang Lin. He gazed at the fish slipping back into the river, enlightenment flickering in his eyes. Raising his hand, he infused the old man with spiritual energy. You granted me insight, so I shall grant you opportunity. It was as though a heaven-shattering bolt of primordial thunder had descended upon Wang Lin. His mind roared violently, and in that instant he understood. The Tao of the heavens is something all can verify, all can attest to. The heavens themselves are not Tao. Tao is born from the will of heaven and earth, and that will exists within everyone. Like a fish living within a river, it does not defy the heavens, nor disturb yin and yang. It lives freely, peacefully. The river is the heavens, the world, and the fish are all living beings within it. But when a net descends and pulls the fish from the river, that net is Tao, the laws of the world. No matter where one goes, Tao cannot be escaped. One day that net will drag the fish from the water. Once removed, the fish must face the laws of the world, either submit and enter the cycle of reincarnation, or rebel, break the net, and defy. Cultivators are like those struggling fish. The more fiercely they resist, the more they defy Tao. This is Tao. Whether life and death or karma, everything is shaped by the will of Tao. I am karma. The wind screamed across the heavens, lifting Wang Lin into the sky, leaving not even a trace behind. Below, only the trembling old man in the raincoat remained. The old man named Z felt an inexplicable warmth spread through his body. He muttered in a daze. Was he a man or a ghost? The wind dispersed and merged into planet Qing Ling itself. In that very moment, the spiritual energy of the entire planet surged by countless times over. Spirit veins formed in rapid succession, and endless streams of spiritual energy burst forth from the earth. Rivers became suffused with energy, their waters turning a vivid green. Mountains, once ordinary, began to crystallize, forming spirit stones within their cores, transforming into true spirit mountains. All of this was because of Wang Lin. Within the dream Tao, he had become one with planet Qing Ling. He was the planet, and the planet was him. His enlightenment was born from that unity. And as he awakened, so too did the planet undergo profound transformation, as though it too had attained enlightenment. Humans possess spirit, and thus can comprehend Tao. Beasts possess souls, and thus can awaken as well. All things in this world that bear spirit or soul can seek Tao. This planet has a soul as well. It too can awaken. Merged with Qing Ling, Wang Lin clearly perceived its soul, something entirely unlike that of a cultivator. It was illusory, yet undeniably real. It held no thoughts, yet pulsed with instinctive power, an ancient force born from the countless lives, deaths, and struggles of all beings upon it, nurtured over endless ages. Back then, the scattered demon could draw forth a planet's soul. If I wish to, I can do the same. His voice echoed across Qing Ling, transforming into thunder that rolled endlessly through the heavens. Mortals across the land fell to their knees, worshipping the thunder. Cultivators trembled as their hearts quaked, bowing in reverence. Among them the old man named Z stood frozen beneath the sky. His soul trembled within him. It was as though he himself was undergoing a transformation. He is not a ghost. A flicker of enlightenment ignited within his heart. Without another word, he turned and walked away, his steps filled with newfound resolve. Meanwhile, the spiritual energy of Qing Ling surged wildly. All nascent soul cultivators, in seclusion those striving to break into the soul formation stage, suddenly felt the spiritual energy within their bodies spiral uncontrollably. Wang Lin's enlightenment brought about a sweeping transformation. Those long trapped at the nascent soul stage found new hope. Those standing half a step into soul formation gained sudden clarity, comprehending their own domains and breaking through at last. Wang Lin had shattered the invisible barrier that had long prevented Qing Ling's cultivators from advancing. The planet itself reached a state of completion. It was no longer a barren, wasted world as it once appeared, but rather a young, slumbering existence. Given enough time, countless years, it would have naturally formed spirit veins and matured into a true cultivation planet. But Wang Lin's enlightenment had accelerated that process. He had brought forth its future ahead of time. Hengyun Peak, the birthplace of his enlightenment, underwent the most astonishing transformation. From its very foundation to its highest peak, every inch of land crystallized into spirit stone, becoming a true spirit mountain. The density of spiritual energy there was beyond imagination. At that moment, a mysterious power began to gather from every corner of Qing Ling. Though intangible, it was unmistakable. Cultivators sensed it. Even mortals could feel its presence. That power converged upon Hengyun Peak and poured into Wang Lin's body. And at that instant, Wang Lin awakened. His eyes shone like stars as though they contained the vastness of the cosmos. His expression carried joy, yet was cloaked in the boundless majesty of the heavens. Though his face appeared pale, it held a faint, radiant brilliance. An aura surrounded him, the presence of one who had realized his own Tao and attained complete mastery over himself. His physical body remained. His origin soul remained. And yet, if a cultivator closed their eyes, they would not sense his existence at all. It was as though Wang Lin had already merged with the world itself, before such merging would cause his body to vanish. But now, even with body and soul present, he still felt inseparable from all existence. It was as if distance no longer existed, as if a single thought was karma itself. The heavens leave no trace, yet I unknowingly entered my own karma. Had I not attained enlightenment, I might never have awakened. This is strange. It felt as though countless thoughts flooded my mind, replacing my sanity, guiding me toward a predetermined path. Wang Lin raised his head and gazed into the sky, his eyes turning cold. Within that gaze burned killing intent, endless, chilling absolute. As he looked upward, an immense power surged from planet Qing Ling itself. It came from every cultivator, every mortal, every living being. That power gathered toward Wang Lin in a furious torrent and then erupted toward the heavens. At that moment, if Qing Ling was the river, then all living beings upon it were fish, struggling, fighting. And now, through Wang Lin, they united as one to defy the heavens. The yin-yang diagram revolved slowly in the heavens above Wang Lin, black and white intertwined, emanating a powerful surge of origin energy. As it turned, it seemed to draw in the will, the thoughts, the very ideals of all living beings across the planet, condensing them into a force that defied the heavens themselves. Then suddenly it shot upward into the sky. The entire firmament shifted in color, as though some invisible presence had been forced to retreat at great speed. A moment later, the sky appeared unchanged. Yet in Wang Lin's eyes, it had grown profoundly quieter, eerily so. At that very moment, in a distant region where the four domains intersected, Qing Shui sat in meditation within a tranquil pavilion of the Thunder Celestial Temple. His eyes opened. They were calm, utterly still, without the slightest ripple of disturbance. Yet as they opened, his gaze pierced into the distance as though it could traverse the stars themselves. Master once said, half in jest, that anyone who could learn even a single one of his spells could be considered a disciple of Bai Fan. And this person, by chance, learned Call the Wind. Qing Shui fell into silence. A trace of melancholy surfaced within his eyes. Master, your disciple is unworthy. He paused, his gaze hardening. But even if it takes countless years, I will uncover the truth behind the collapse of the celestial realm and why I descended into madness. I will avenge you. Back on planet Qing Ling, Wang Lin slowly withdrew his gaze from the sky. After his enlightenment, he stood at the threshold, half a step into the Nirvana Scryer stage. With but a single thought, he could step fully into the second step of cultivation. To reach such a level in just over 1,000 years, it would shock the heavens themselves. Wang Lin, a man of ordinary talent, yet possessing unwavering resolve and his own unyielding ideals, had carved his way to this height through sheer perseverance. Back on planet Suzaku, no one could have ever imagined he would one day stand where he now stood. His expression remained calm, yet with merely a slight release of his cultivation, such a phenomenon had already been triggered. Wang Lin could clearly foresee what awaited him the moment he broke through. Divine retribution. It would descend instantly. Divine retribution. Something about it is strange. After what I experienced within karma, I must tread carefully. I cannot afford even the slightest carelessness. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. Since the moment he defied the heavens at the ascendant stage, every advancement in his cultivation had been met with suppression, and each time the divine retribution had grown more terrifying, more unfathomable than before. Wang Lin lowered his head, looking at Yao Bingyun, who still lay unconscious. This time his hand did not hesitate. His finger pressed down between her brows. Devouring domains is the wrong path. Yet before that thought lingered within my mind, if not for my enlightenment, I would have remained trapped within that dilemma, until my Tao itself crumbled. The instant his finger touched her forehead, a mysterious light appeared within Wang Lin's eyes. It was as though he had merged with heaven and earth. The correct path is not to devour, but to borrow to comprehend, to borrow another's Tao in order to confirm karma. Only in this way can karma reach completion. He took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. His domain unfolded. Above, the black and white fish of yin and yang rotated gently, descending from the heavens until they sank into both his body and Yao Bingyun's. Within Wang Lin, the heaven-defying bead began to revolve, slowly absorbing the essence of yin and yang. Younger sister, younger sister. A faint, trembling voice echoed from the void. It carried a sorrow so deep, so immeasurable, that anyone who heard it would feel their heart ache uncontrollably. Younger sister, your elder sister will save you. You must hold on. Wait for me. The grief within that voice lingered, refusing to fade. Within the black void, Wang Lin listened silently. His heart remained still, untouched by joy or sorrow. As the voice echoed, clouds seemed to form within the darkness, enveloping everything. It was as though he had stepped into the depths of a drifting cloud. Within it sat a young girl, hugging her knees. She was no more than 15 or 16, frail, delicate, as though even a gentle breeze could carry her away. Beneath her disheveled hair, her face was pale, filled with helplessness and fear. Big sister, big sister. Her voice trembled as it escaped her lips. Big sister promises, in this life I will come and save you. Younger sister, don't cry. Big sister is here. Don't be afraid. You're only going to a faraway place. Just wait for me there. Once I gain enough power, I will come for you. Don't cry. Mother is gone. Only the two of us remain. No one will bully you there. Listen to big sister, be strong, and wait for me. The girl lifted her tear-streaked face, her voice choked with fear. Big sister, I don't want to go. I'm scared. Just then, a pair of aged hands suddenly emerged from the void, seizing the girl. In an instant, she was dragged away into the depths of darkness. Big sister, big sister. Her desperate cries echoed endlessly until at last, they faded into silence. Younger sister, in this lifetime I will gain the strength to save you. Wait for me. hold on." The void was filled with sobbing, raw, unrestrained sorrow. A sorrow so overwhelming it seemed capable of shattering the world itself. As it spread, the void trembled, then began to collapse. A violent storm erupted, tearing through everything as though it sought to rip existence itself apart. The void shattered, revealing a stretch of lush green earth below. Two young girls in red ran across the grass, laughing as they chased one another. They were sisters, this much was unmistakable. The younger one was frail, her body thin and weak. Though she smiled brightly, her face was unnaturally pale. "Little sister, if you catch me, big sister will buy you candy." The elder laughed, glancing back playfully. "Big sister, wait." The younger girl hurried forward, but after only a few steps, she stumbled and fell, tears welling in her eyes. Her sister rushed over, immediately kneeling beside her. "Don't cry. When we get back, big sister will buy you candy." Before she could finish, the younger girl suddenly grabbed her clothes and burst into laughter. "Big sister, I caught you. You cheated." Their laughter rang out as they tumbled together in play. After a while, they grew tired and sat down upon the grass. The younger sister looked up softly. "Big sister, why did great ancestor bring us here? Is it so we can see mother? I miss her." At that very moment, the sky darkened. Crimson clouds gathered above them, swirling violently until they condensed into the form of a man. He was middle-aged, handsome, exuding the aura of a celestial. He gazed at the two girls, his expression complex, heavy with unspoken emotions. Then he descended. "Bingyun, Mengyun, come with me." Mengyun's eyes lit up with joy. "Uncle Yun, are you taking us to see mother?" The man's gaze grew even heavier. After a brief silence, he nodded. "Yes, I will take you to see her." With a wave of his sleeve, he lifted both girls. Beneath his feet, clouds surged like thunder as he shot toward the heavens. "Ancestor, the children are innocent. Even if I, Yao Yun, must face punishment, I will take them away from the blood planet." His teeth clenched, determination blazing in his eyes. But suddenly, the sky distorted. A monstrous demonic hand tore through the heavens, grasping the crimson cloud. In an instant, the cloud shattered, revealing Yao Yun pale-faced and the two terrified girls. "Yao Yun, return." An ancient voice resounded, majestic, absolute, impossible to defy. Yao Yun roared in fury. "Why, ancestor? They are members of the Yao family as well. It is precisely because they are Yao family members that this is their fate. They cannot escape. From the moment they were born, they were destined to become the souls of that magical treasure." The voice brooked no resistance. A gale swept across the sky, seizing all three of them. Outside the ancestral hall of the Yao family, Yao Yun was violently cast out from the void. His face pale, he coughed up mouthfuls of blood, stumbling backward dozens of feet before collapsing into bitter laughter. Before him, the two girls were dragged into the ancestral hall, their faces filled with terror confusion, as though they were being devoured by the very structure itself. All of this Wang Lin witnessed. Within his mysterious state, he observed everything in silence, confirming Yao Bingyun's Tao. This was the root of her Tao. "Ancestor, is the family's magical treasure truly so important? Bingyun and Mengyun have no father. Even their mother was nothing more than a tool you used to give birth to them, so they could fuse with the treasure's spirit. They will become the new souls of that treasure." Yao Yun's smile was filled with bitterness. He cared deeply for the two children, because their mother had been his elder sister, the most gifted second-generation member the Yao family had seen in countless years. Big Brother was right. The old ancestor has already fallen to madness. The Yao family of the past no longer exists. When Elder Brother chose to leave without hesitation, I did not understand. But now I finally do. Wang Lin watched everything with calm detachment. His heart did not stir. There was neither joy nor sorrow in his gaze, only quiet observation, as though he stood outside the flow of all things. Within the ancestral hall, the two young girls trembled in fear. Panic and helplessness filled their faces. The younger sister clung tightly to the elder, her small body shaking uncontrollably. as though this fragile embrace was the only refuge she had left in the world. "Big sister, I'm scared. I'm so scared." Her voice quivered thin and fragile. Her fingers dug into her sister's clothes so tightly that they turned pale. Yao Bingyun held her close. All color had drained from her face. The fear in her eyes had reached its peak, yet deeper still, there was something else. A vague, suffocating premonition. What awaited them was more terrifying than death itself. Before them sat an old man. He wore a blood-red robe. His brows, his hair, everything about him burned with the same crimson hue. His aged face was lined with time, yet when his eyes opened, a formless light burst forth from within them. As members of the Yao family, he said calmly, "For the continuation of our clan's eternal glory, the two of you shall become the soul of a treasure." His voice was steady, indifferent. As he spoke, he raised his right hand. The space before him split open with a crack 3 feet long. From within, a chilling wind surged outward. Then, an ancient oil lamp slowly drifted out. A pale blue flame flickered atop it. It gave off no warmth, only an unimaginable cold. The lamp floated between the old man and the two girls. Its flame suddenly flared violently, sparks scattering outward toward them. "This is the Yao family's sacred treasure," the old man continued. "Since the birth of the celestial realm, it has never been extinguished. It is the symbol of life itself." He paused. "But 500 years ago, it began to wane. I spent long years calculating and discovered the cause. The treasure's soul is fading. When it dissipates completely, the flame will vanish. For 300 years, I extracted a fragment of that soul and planted it within the most gifted member of our clan. For 200 years, it was nurtured, until she gave birth to the two of you." His gaze fell upon them. "This is your destiny. You cannot escape it. You were born to become the soul of this treasure." The flame erupted. It expanded rapidly, transforming into a vast cloud of fire. Within it, a demon took form. 2 horns rose from its head. Its body was immense, forged entirely from blazing flames. It lunged forward. Ancient demon. Even Wang Lin's mind trembled at the sight. The hall was instantly swallowed by fire. The demon opened its jaws and descended upon the 2 girls. "Big sister." The younger girl's scream tore through the air. The terror within it was so raw, so absolute, that even Wang Lin's heart trembled faintly. Yao Bingyun's face was deathly pale. Fear consumed her. She had never known such fear. As the demon closed in, she stepped back, instinctively. Just 1 step. Her little sister was now in front of her. The demon devoured her and withdrew. The younger sister's hands still clutched her clothes, tearing them as she vanished. "Big sister, save me, save." Her cries echoed within the ancestral hall. Then, silence. The elder sister collapsed to the ground. Tears streamed down her face. She bit her lip until blood flowed her entire being, drowning in regret. Then she rose and rushed toward the demon. Little sister, give her back. Devour me instead, take me." The demon twisted. Then it vanished, returning to the oil lamp. The flame burned brighter than ever, and within it, a clear image of a struggling girl. Big sister, the old man watched. A strange light flickered in his eyes. With a wave of his sleeve, Yao Bingyun was pushed aside. He stared at the flame and slowly smiled. "I did not expect that only one is needed to become the treasure soul. Very well, you may live." Yao Bingyun sat there hollow. Her eyes were empty. Regret flooded her like a rising tide, drowning everything. "Little sister, big sister didn't mean to. I truly didn't. I should have been the one. It should have been me." Her body trembled. At this moment there was no fear left in her, only endless remorse. "I shouldn't have stepped back. Before Mother left, she told me to protect you. I failed. She dropped to her knees, her voice breaking. "Ancestral grandfather, Yao Bingyun, am willing to become the treasure soul. Even if it means eternity, I will not complain. Please release Mengyun. Take me instead. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. She kowtowed again and again, her forehead split open, blood flowing freely. But she did not stop. Her cries were enough to move heaven and earth. Even Wang Lin fell silent. Outside, Yao Yun heard everything. His eyes turned bloodshot as he roared and struggled to rise. But before he could enter, a force struck him. He coughed blood thrown backward. The Yao family will perish. Inside the hall, the old man watched the kneeling girl. Her sorrow pierced into his mind. For a fleeting moment, confusion appeared in his eyes, a rare hesitation. But it vanished instantly. Suppressed, he raised his hand. The oil lamp returned to him. This is Yao Mengyun's fate. I will not change it. The lamp returned to the crack. The crack slowly closed. Little sister. Yao Bingyun's scream shattered the air, so filled with grief that Wang Lin's Tao itself trembled, nearly collapsing. Little sister, be strong, wait for big sister. I haven't taken you to see the Candyman. I haven't brought you to find. Mother, wait for me. I will come save you. I promise. Everything collapsed. The ancestral hall, the lamp, the old man, the crack, all shattered, returning to nothingness. Only Yao Bingyun remained, sitting there, her eyes filled with remorse and something colder. Whoever saves my little sister, I, Yao Bingyun, will serve for eternity, even if I must lose all conscience. As long as she lives, I am willing, no regrets. Her voice echoed between heaven and earth, cold, resolute, desperate. Wang Lin's divine sense trembled. Through her Tao, he sought his own. The image of the two sisters lingered in his mind. I can... Yao Bingyun raised her head slightly, as if she had heard something. But her body began to fade. Everything dissolved. Wang Lin sighed. Another scene appeared. Beneath an iceberg, Yao Bingyun, now grown, sat alone. Her gaze was distant, filled with sorrow. Little sister, even if I become cold and without emotion, I will not forget you. Wait for me. Tears flowed down her face. She did not wipe them away. Instead, she closed her eyes and began cultivating the forbidden celestial art of the Yao clan, the soul-sealed tactic, a path that severed all emotion, cut off all attachment, and led to absolute coldness, a ruthless Tao. To cultivate a ruthless Tao with a heart full of love. Wang Lin sighed softly. He had seen through her completely. Her Tao heart is her sister. Her domain is not glory, but ruthlessness. He appeared beside her, looked at her, shook his head. I could break her Tao heart. But he vanished on Hengyun Peak. Wang Lin opened his eyes. He raised his hand and sighed. You pursued me, yet also helped me break through. The karma between us is complete. With a wave of his hand, all seals on Yao Bingyun shattered. Her body rose into the air. She opened her eyes slowly. Confusion flickered within them, then faded. She looked at Wang Lin. Her gaze was complex. After a long silence, she spoke softly. Do you believe in reincarnation? Back then, in the ancestral hall, I heard a voice. It said it could. She paused. Her eyes met his. Was that you? On Hengyun Peak, Wang Lin remained utterly calm. He had already seen through Yao Bingyun's Tao heart completely. Her younger sister was both the core of her Tao and its only flaw. Without lifting his head, Wang Lin spoke indifferently, his voice steady and unhurried. With my current strength, I cannot help you. In the sky, Yao Bingyun stood in silence. A bleakness spread across her expression as she pondered for a long time. At last, she murmured softly, almost as if consoling herself. Perhaps I misheard. Tears shimmered faintly at the corners of her eyes as she turned away. Her figure gradually faded into the heavens, vanishing without a trace. From beginning to end, Wang Lin never looked up. His eyes remained closed, his mind immersed entirely within his karma Tao. Inside his body, black and white yin and yang manifested as two fishes slowly revolving. They emerged behind him, condensing into form, as they continued their endless rotation. With each turn, a powerful suction spread outward, drawing in everything in the surroundings. All that was absorbed was refined into origin energy, flowing into Wang Lin's body, while a portion was quietly devoured by the heaven-defying bead. At the same time, the bead itself began to change. Upon its surface, a yin-yang diagram appeared, slowly revolving within Wang Lin's origin soul. Wang Lin clearly understood. His karma domain had reached small completion. It had become corporeal. This marked his true step into the second stage of cultivation. He had become a Nirvana Scryer cultivator. If he so wished, he could summon divine retribution. And once he endured it, he would step into the early stage of Nirvana Scryer, the second step of cultivation. Nirvana Scryer, Nirvana Cleanser, Nirvana Shatterer, all bear the name Nirvana. From what I glimpsed of the third step, only by fully comprehending Nirvana and mastering its laws can one ascend. Further, the heavens are boundless and Tao is endless. Can it be that the path of Tao has only 3 steps? Wang Lin fell silent. When he opened his eyes, a strange brilliance emerged. His left eye carried yang, his right eye carried yin. Like the sun and moon, they radiated an uncanny, awe-inspiring presence. As his gaze opened, the yin and yang fishes behind him began to spin faster, faster, and faster still. Soon, Hengyun Peak became the center of a vast spiritual upheaval across the entire planet. The flow of spiritual energy trembled and surged, as though grasped and reshaped by an unseen pair of colossal hands. A storm, mad and invisible, swept across planet Qing Ling. Though unseen, every cultivator could feel it with terrifying clarity. Endless spiritual energy converged toward Hengyun Peak, like a raging tide. A mysterious gleam flickered within Wang Lin's eyes. He inhaled deeply, and the yin and yang fishes abruptly ceased their rotation. My origin energy is transforming, but I cannot complete it here. If I do, this planet will collapse. He rose to his feet and stepped toward the void. Yet after that single step, his expression changed. His gaze pierced across vast distances, spanning countless kilometers, until it landed upon a lone figure. The old man named Z. With his mortal body, he was struggling forward step by step. It was as though he were on a pilgrimage. His destination, Hengyun Peak. Wang Lin silently observed for a moment, then withdrew his gaze. He sat down once more, closed his eyes, and entered stillness. Time passed quietly. In the blink of an eye, half a month went by. During those 15 days, Wang Lin remained motionless. As for the old man, his pace grew faster and faster. With a mortal body, he should not have been able to endure such a journey. Yet every time exhaustion overwhelmed him, a surge of warmth would flow through his body, erasing fatigue and filling him with renewed strength. And so, step by step, he arrived beneath Hengyun Peak. The old man looked up at the towering mountain. Taking a deep breath, a resolute light filled his eyes as he began to climb. Step after step, even when his knees shattered and blood streamed down his legs, he did not stop. Within his heart burned a belief that drove him forward. I once believed I understood all human affairs, that I had attained enlightenment through scholarship. I thought it my duty to enlighten the world. But in my twilight years, I awakened. I am but a fish in the water. His face was etched with bitterness, yet his eyes shone with increasing brilliance. Humans are fish. The heavens are the water. Tao is the net, and the net is the creator. At last, he reached the summit. There he saw Wang Lin, a man whose eyes seemed to contain the entire universe. Though exhausted, though his blood had long since dried, at that moment it was as if thunder exploded within him. A deafening roar echoed through his body. His soul seemed to tear free, lifting, trembling. And for a fleeting instant, he saw it, a black and white yin-yang image. Overwhelmed, he dropped to his knees, bowing as though in worship. "Please, teach me Tao." Wang Lin gazed at him calmly. This old man was no ordinary mortal. Among mortals, there existed a rare few, those with a Tao heart. Though faint and illusory, it was real. Such people were not necessarily suited for cultivation. In truth, children with pure, untainted minds were far more suitable. Yet once these individuals completed their Tao, even if their cultivation remained shallow, their understanding would be profound, allowing them to walk far along the path. But this old man's body was already frail with age. It could not withstand the force of spiritual energy. For him to cultivate would be exceedingly difficult. Wang Lin spoke calmly. "You have little life left. Cultivating Tao is not easily attained. Have you truly considered this?" The old man met Wang Lin's gaze, his eyes unwavering. "When I was 3, I learned to read. At 6, I recited poetry. At 14, my name shook the capital. And yet, my heart was always clouded. I believed I understood humanity, but I always felt suppressed by the world. In my old age, I resigned myself to teaching, prepared to spend the rest of my life in confusion. But that wind, the one that entered my room, showed me the source of that confusion. What is Tao? The insight I gained by the river forced me to choose. Even if it costs me my life, I had to come here. To seek Tao. Please teach me. Accept me as your disciple." Wang Lin's gaze deepened as he looked into the old man's eyes. It was as though he could see through his very mind, even glimpsing faint traces of reincarnation behind him. After a long silence, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. "What is your name?" The old man took a deep breath. "Xie. In my life I have never accepted a disciple," Wang Lin said calmly. "Since your enlightenment was born from a karmic cause I created, I will accept you as an honorary disciple. I will grant you this mountain to cultivate. I will not teach you spells. I will only grant you a chance at comprehension." He raised his right hand and pointed forward. The yin and yang fishes surged forth, entering his fingertip, then shot into the space between Xie Qing's brows. Xi Qing's body trembled violently. Confusion filled his eyes as he collapsed onto the ground. Wang Lin glanced at him once, then flicked his sleeve. A cloud of white mist gathered beneath his feet, and he vanished into the horizon. One day later, Xi Qing awoke. His eyes still held confusion. After a long silence, he sat down upon the mountain peak, closed his eyes, and began to comprehend. Wang Lin did not immediately leave planet Qing Ling. Instead, he went to seek out the chosen immortal clan. He took out the yellow talisman, but none among them recognized it. They felt only a deep, inexplicable familiarity, yet no memory surfaced. Wang Lin departed deep in thought. As he traveled through the void, he did not merge with the world. Instead, his divine sense spread outward, searching for a suitable place to cultivate. Several days later, his eyes narrowed. He turned and shot toward a yellow planet, a desolate world, barren, nearly devoid of spiritual energy. He pierced through its atmosphere and landed upon its surface. Miasma filled the air, deadly to mortals who would perish with a single breath. But to Wang Lin it meant nothing. He pointed at the ground. The earth trembled and slowly rose. In mere moments, a mountain formed. Within its side, a cave took shape. Wang Lin entered and sat down. From his shadow, Tarshan emerged, standing guard. His injuries had improved. His eyes burned like torches as he vigilantly observed the surroundings. As Wang Lin settled into cultivation, the origin energy within his body surged. Behind him, the yin and yang fishes appeared once more, spinning rapidly, drawing in every last trace of spiritual energy remaining on the planet. Gradually, his previously colorless origin energy began to transform. As the rotation intensified, it split into two colors, black and white. The white energy remained within his body. The black energy circulated outside. Together they formed a perfect eternal cycle. At that very moment, far across the void, a middle-aged man rode upon a crimson cloud, speeding toward Wang Lin. In his hand was a bronze mirror from which a red thread extended, guiding his path. He was handsome, his expression calm, his speed astonishing. If Wang Lin were present, he would recognize him instantly. Yao Yun, the man who sought to save Yao Bingyun and her sister. Though his appearance remained unchanged, he seemed older, but the greatest difference lay in his eyes. Though calm on the surface, deep within them flickered something else, a dark demonic nature, like a hidden flame waiting to ignite. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. They gleamed with a piercing brilliance. Around him, a layer of black gas, imperceptible to the naked eye, quietly coiled and drifted. Within his body, his origin energy had transformed into pure white mist, surging through his meridians at several times its usual speed. Dao enters the Dao. His voice was low, almost a whisper. Now that enlightenment had come, there was no longer any confusion, only clarity, a complete, unwavering awareness of his own state. This was not the first time Dao had entered his body. Long ago he had experienced it through the domain of life and death. But now, this was different. The karma domain he had condensed had taken on tangible form and entered him. After a long moment of silent contemplation, Wang Lin rose. With a single flicker, he appeared beyond the mountain. The instant he emerged, Tarshan dissolved into a shadow and merged seamlessly behind him, vanishing without a trace. Wang Lin took a single step and disappeared, merging with the world itself. When he reappeared, he stood among the stars. Without pause, his figure blurred once more, vanishing into the void. First, I must find Li Yuan and obtain the hot restriction. A cold light flickered in his eyes. If anyone dares stand in my way, then I will summon divine retribution itself and borrow its power to overcome it. Having endured divine retribution multiple times, Wang Lin no longer held the same reverence or fear he once had. Merged with the world, he surged forward at an astonishing speed, heading toward the southern domain. The Li family resided there on planet Annihilation. Guided by the map Li Yuan had given him, Wang Lin traversed the vast expanse of space. Yet even for him, merging with the world could not be sustained indefinitely. Each time he emerged, he was forced to pause briefly, allowing his strength to recover. Even so, his speed far surpassed that of cultivators incapable of such movement. On this day, when he once again reappeared, he had already entered the southern domain. He moved forward swiftly, but just as he was about to merge with the world once more, his expression changed. A powerful sense of danger surged through the surroundings. Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. His figure flickered, and in that instant, the very space he had occupied collapsed with a thunderous roar. A shockwave spread outward, distorting everything in its path. He stood calmly, his gaze fixed upon the distance. There, a sea of crimson clouds filled the horizon. In the blink of an eye, the clouds gathered before him, condensing into the form of a middle-aged man. In the man's right hand was a bronze mirror. "Are you Xu Mu?" His voice was cold, cutting like ice as his gaze locked onto Wang Lin. Wang Lin recognized him instantly, but he did not respond. Instead, he stepped back. Ripples spread beneath his feet as he attempted to merge once more with the world. Yet, he stopped. The surrounding space had been sealed by an unseen force. There was no escape. Wang Lin had already anticipated this the moment the man appeared. Now, with confirmation, he remained composed, his expression calm as he faced his opponent. The middle-aged man's voice turned even colder. "Though I do not possess spatial bend, I can still calculate your position." A faint sneer appeared. "This place was prepared for you." He gave Wang Lin no time to speak. The moment the words left his lips, the bronze mirror in his hand flashed. The world vanished. The surroundings transformed into a vast mirror-like surface. "Gather." His voice echoed like a command of fate itself. In an instant, everything around Wang Lin shattered into countless fragments, collapsing inward. With a casual wave of his sleeve, the fragments were drawn into the bronze mirror. Without another glance, the man turned and departed. To him, capturing Wang Lin had been nothing more than a trivial task. A hazy aura spread. Wang Lin reappeared. He now stood within a space filled with dense mist. From all directions, a scorching heat pressed down upon him as though he had been cast into a heavenly furnace. Yet Wang Lin remained calm. His eyes grew colder. Within him, the white mist of his origin energy met the black gas surrounding his body. The two intertwined, forming the image of yin and yang, and began to rotate. At that very moment, he took that final step. Nirvana Scryer. A thunderous roar erupted within the mist-filled space. Wang Lin's body slowly rose into the air. His hair danced wildly, though no wind stirred. From within him a terrifying aura burst forth as the yin-yang fish spun violently. A vortex formed, rampaging outward. The surrounding mist recoiled, pushed back by the storm. Even the oppressive heat retreated, as though it dared not approach. Within Wang Lin's eyes, it was as if the sun and moon resided. Black and white energy spun faster and faster, forming a vortex resembling two dragons, intertwining in eternal struggle. Thunder roared. The entire space trembled. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He lifted his head and looked upward. Elsewhere, Yao Bingyun traveled swiftly through space, his expression indifferent. But in that instant, his face changed. Crimson clouds gathered rapidly ahead. But these clouds were different. The power they contained sent a chill through even his soul. This is divine retribution cloud. His pupils shrank violently. He had once reached the early stage of Nirvana cleanser thousands of years ago. Yet for reasons unknown, his cultivation had regressed to the mid-stage of Nirvana Scryer. Not only that, many of his memories had vanished, especially those tied to the time he had left the Blood Planet. No matter how hard he tried, he could not recall them. He only vaguely remembered that he had once done something that angered the ancestor. Yet in the end, the ancestor had forgiven him. Since then, his mind had grown unstable. His cultivation weakened over time. And worse, at intervals, unbearable pain would erupt within his mind. A pain so intense it drove him toward madness. Only through slaughter, endless slaughter, could he relieve it. At first, he had been able to suppress it. But as his cultivation declined, the pain grew stronger, harder to endure, harder to resist. He knew this must be connected to something that had happened on the Blood Planet. But no matter how he searched his memories, there was only emptiness. He had once sought answers from the Blood God, but received none. In the end, he sealed himself within the family, entering closed-door cultivation. He sought to halt his decline, to suppress the madness, to reclaim what he had lost. Until recently, when the ancestor commanded him to leave, to kill a man, Shumu. Now, as he stared at the gathering divine retribution clouds, his soul trembled. This fear did not come entirely from himself. It came from something deeper, something embedded within his very being. Divine retribution was his natural enemy. The sensation intensified until it became agony, as though a spike had been driven into his skull. His eyes turned bloodshot. A furious roar erupted from his throat. Like thunder, it shook the heavens. A vast surge of origin energy exploded outward. His hair whipped wildly. His face turned a ghastly shade of green. A green light enveloped his body, and within it, another face appeared, a demonic visage, with two horns. It stared at the gathering divine retribution clouds, and opened its mouth, a silent roar. Though no sound emerged, the heavens trembled. Large portions of the divine retribution clouds collapsed. Yet in the next instant, they reformed, faster, denser, more terrifying than before. In the blink of an eye, a sea of divine retribution clouds spread across over 100,000 feet. Then, a bolt of crimson lightning descended. It tore through the sky at an unimaginable speed. Yao Yun's expression twisted in agony. The demonic shadow surged forward, rushing to meet the lightning. It opened its mouth, attempting to devour it. Boom! The shadow trembled violently on the verge of collapse. At the same time, strands of lightning pierced through it, striking directly into Yao Yun's body. His pain intensified, unbearable. A portion of the divine retribution lightning entered the bronze mirror, and then a faint cracking sound echoed. Crack, crack, crack. Within the mist-filled space, Wang Lin moved. He was like a sword drawn from its sheath. The black and white vortex surged before him, roaring like a storm unleashed. Heavenly chop. His voice thundered. The yin and yang energies fused instantly, becoming a single streak of grey sword light, and shot forward. Boom! A deafening explosion shattered the heavens. The bronze mirror in Yao Yun's hand collapsed. Countless fragments scattered into the void. And from within the shattering mirror, Wang Lin stepped out. Yao Yun did not even glance at the bronze mirror. By now he had long forgotten the ancestor's command. Clutching his head, he roared in agony again and again, his voice tearing through the air like a wounded beast. Above him loomed a demonic shadow over 100 feet tall. It withdrew its gaze from the divine retribution lightning and turned its cold, merciless eyes, locking onto Wang Lin. Ancient demon. Wang Lin murmured, a sharp light flashing in his eyes. A sinister gleam flickered within the demon's pupils. Its form blurred, and in an instant it seized Yao Yun, attempting to drag him beyond the reach of the divine retribution cloud. But at that very moment, the cloud roared. A thunderous, heaven-splitting roar erupted as 4 bolts of lightning tore through the sky. 2 shot directly toward Wang Lin. The other 2 descended upon the ancient demon. Wang Lin remained calm. The burden of divine retribution had been divided. He raised his hand slowly before him. Black and white energies surged forth, intertwining, forming a vast yin-yang diagram that spun before him like a living vortex. The first bolt struck. A deafening explosion rang out as lightning collided with the yin-yang image. Wang Lin was forced backward, retreating rapidly, but the vortex before him devoured the thunder, absorbing its destructive force. Then, the second bolt descended. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with a strange light. His origin soul burst forth, transforming into an ancient thunder dragon. It opened its jaws and devoured the lightning, devouring divine retribution. His origin soul trembled violently as the thunder raged within it, echoing like the wrath of the heavens themselves. But the ancient thunder dragon was born of lightning. It roared defiantly, then returned to Wang Lin's body as he retreated once more. Still, there was not a trace of fear on his face. Divine retribution was powerful, but he did not fear it. Not when its force had been split. Not when another bore half its wrath. As for the ancient demon, it retreated frantically, its form flickering wildly. Though it had swallowed both bolts of lightning, its body grew increasingly indistinct, as if on the verge of dispersing. Silent roars rippled through its form as it fled with terrifying speed, so fast that even the divine retribution cloud could not catch up. It seemed it would escape, dragging Yao Yun beyond the storm. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Yao Yun, he shouted, his voice infused with divine sense, echoing with overwhelming force. Do you remember the 2 sisters, Yao Bingyun and Yao Bingyun? Do you remember? On the blood planet, the ancient lamp devouring that soul. His voice struck Yao Yun like thunder. Yao Yun's screams intensified. He stopped. Veins bulged across his face, his expression twisting into something feral. Clutching his head, he roared, "Get out of my body! I don't care who you are. Get out!" He jerked his head upward. His eyes burned crimson with madness, as though he could see the ancient demon looming above him. The demon's expression darkened. Its gaze toward Wang Lin turned colder still. No longer retreating, it surged forward instead, tearing itself from Yao Yun's body and charging straight at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He exhaled a stream of white mist. Within it, an object appeared, the celestial sealing stamp. It expanded instantly, towering before him. With a swift hand, hundreds of thousands of golden runes burst forth, surging toward the ancient demon like a tidal wave. At that same moment, the divine retribution cloud roared once more. More than a dozen crimson lightning bolts formed, each over 10 feet long, crackling with enough power to shatter space itself. They descended, facing both the endless seals and the descending lightning. The ancient demon's eyes flickered. It muttered silent incantations, and in an instant, its already blurred form became even more indistinct. The golden seals lost their target. The lightning paused, then shifted direction. All of it turned toward Wang Lin. Thunder roared. The heavens collapsed. The ancient demon grinned. Yet, At this critical moment, Wang Lin did not panic, not even slightly. He reached out into the void. All the golden seals reversed direction, rushing back toward him. It was as though he intended to seal himself. The lightning descended. Closer, closer, and then a flash. Before Wang Lin, an illusory furnace appeared. The instant it manifested, a vast ancient god aura erupted outward, shaking the very fabric of space. The ancient demon froze. Its eyes widened in disbelief. A mere little demon is not worthy of my attention. Wang Lin smiled faintly. Change positions. A strange force surged from the ancient god furnace. In that instant, Wang Lin vanished. The ancient demon vanished. They had switched places. When the demon reappeared, hundreds of thousands of golden seals had already surrounded it. And above, more than 10 bolts of divine retribution lightning were descending. Boom! A world-shattering explosion echoed across the stars. Under the crushing assault of both seals and lightning, the ancient demon let out a furious roar. Its body nearly collapsed. In the end, it condensed into a demonic seal and shot toward Yao Yun's forehead. But it was weak now, fading. Yao Yun's expression twisted violently. Get out! His body erupted with surging origin energy as though he would explode. The force pushed outward, resisting the demonic seal's return. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He did not intervene. Instead, he retreated. The divine retribution had not ended. It would only grow stronger. And now, with the ancient demon weakened, he had no reason to stay. But suddenly, his expression changed. A bloody aura surged forth. It cut through the storm, unafraid of divine retribution. Blood mist spread across the sky, thick, oppressive. It's time to end this. An ancient voice echoed from within the mist. From behind Yao Yun, a withered arm emerged. It reached out and grasped the demonic seal. Ignoring the raging origin energy, it pressed the seal directly into Yao Yun's forehead. Blood god. Wang Lin's pupils contracted sharply. At that same moment, far away within the Thunder Celestial Temple, Celestial Lord Qing Shui opened his eyes. He pondered in silence for a brief moment. Then, he let out a cold snort and vanished. A vast surge of divine retribution spread outward, condensing into an overwhelming pressure that blanketed the heavens and earth. Within its range, everything without exception fell under its judgment. The divine retribution had only just begun, yet the might it carried was already several times more terrifying than before. The will of the heavens churned violently, and the destructive force contained within the clouds seemed capable of erasing all existence. The appearance of the Tribulation clouds did more than isolate this region from the outside world. It stirred the entire southern domain. All powerful cultivators felt it. The heavens were enraged. The fluctuations were so intense that it was as if they could seize control of the origin energy within one's body. Countless cultivators' expressions changed drastically as they immediately sat down, sealing their own energy to prevent it from spiraling out of control. Meanwhile, between Yao Yun's brows, the demonic seal flickered. The savage distortion on his face gradually faded, the bulging veins receding. Yet deep within his eyes, a frantic struggle still raged, violent, desperate, and hidden beneath the surface. If one could peer into his very heart, they would hear a roar of madness echoing endlessly. Before him, crimson light gathered. From within that blinding radiance, a figure slowly emerged. He wore a loose blood-red robe. His crimson hair drifted without wind, and an ancient aura surrounded him, tinged faintly with a nearly imperceptible demonic presence. He was the ancestor of the Yao family, blood god. With a casual wave of his hand, the demonic seal on Yao Yun intensified. The struggle within Yao Yun's eyes vanished completely, leaving only cold obedience behind. At that instant, Wang Lin's pupils contracted sharply. The moment blood god appeared, he did not hesitate. His body retreated at full speed, his hand already pressing against his storage bag. If not for the divine retribution sealing this region and preventing him from merging with the world, He would have fled without the slightest hesitation. Now he moved like a streak of light, unleashing every ounce of his power to escape. Blood God remained unmoved. He watched Wang Lin as one might regard an insect, indifferent, dismissive. Raising his right hand, he pointed calmly and said, "Hand over the item you obtained within the moongazer serpent." His voice was soft, yet the moment it left his lips, it transformed into thunder that shook the heavens. A deafening roar erupted so powerful that the very fabric of the world trembled. It was as though his voice itself carried the might of the heavens. His words were law, unavoidable, irresistible. As the sound spread, space itself warped. Even the divine retribution clouds were forced backward under its force. It was as though his voice could bend the laws of reality, as though within this domain everything must submit to his will or collapse. In this moment, Blood God was no different from a true celestial. Words that contain law. Wang Lin inhaled sharply. To cultivate such a technique to this level, it was beyond shocking. Though he could not comprehend how Blood God's words altered the laws themselves, he could feel its power clearly. It was as though tens of thousands of heavenly chops had descended simultaneously. Everything within the region seemed on the verge of collapse. Even Wang Lin was not spared. At the instant those words were spoken, a massive furnace materialized before him, shielding his body. Even so, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, his face turning deathly pale. This Blood God must still be injured. There's no way he recovered from the shattered star of an ancient god so quickly. Suppressing the turmoil within him, Wang Lin retreated even faster, shouting, "Senior, isn't it excessive for you to attack a junior? If word of this spreads, the Yao family's reputation will be ruined." Blood God's expression remained cold. He raised his hand once more and pointed. "If you can evade this celestial spell, consider it your fortune." At his fingertip, crimson light gathered, and in an instant a blood-colored swallow formed, streaking toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face paled further. Without hesitation, he pulled out the celestial mountain. There was no time for regret. He hurled it forward and roared. Soul explode. The celestial mountain, once obtained from greed, contained a powerful soul. Though not fully extracted, its detonation would unleash even greater destructive force. As the blood swallow approached, the mountain exploded. A violent storm erupted, forming a massive vortex infused with destructive aura. Wang Lin retreated rapidly, spitting out the celestial sealing stamp. With a series of hand seals, it shot forward to intercept. But then, something happened that caused Wang Lin's pupils to shrink to their limits. Just as the blood swallow was about to collide with the storm, it opened its beak and inhaled, in a single breath. The entire storm, that terrifying vortex of destruction, was devoured completely. Everything vanished in the blink of an eye. The blood swallow shone with even greater brilliance and surged forward once more. The celestial sealing stamp rushed to block it, unleashing hundreds of thousands of golden seals. Yet the swallow opened its beak again and spat the vortex back out. Now under its control, the destructive force raged as it clashed against the incoming seals. What kind of celestial spell is this? It devours divine sense and can even wield it afterward. Wang Lin's expression darkened. Without hesitation, he slapped his storage bag, and the third god-slaying war chariot appeared. It transformed into a butterfly. The instant it emerged, Blood God's eyes narrowed slightly. The blood swallow broke through the golden seals and continued its charge. At that moment, the butterfly gently flapped its wings. The swallow froze. Its eyes glowed crimson as it opened its beak once more. The butterfly flapped again, this time releasing a cascade of multicolored powder. The swallow let out a cry and lunged at the butterfly. Again and again the butterfly flapped. Each time the swallow advanced, it was forced to halt and devour, slowing its momentum significantly. Blood God's expression turned colder. He pointed once more. The swallow's radiance surged as though breaking through a limit. Its speed increased dramatically as it closed in. The butterfly flew forward, circling the swallow. With every beat of its wings, more multicolored dust fell. Gradually, The crimson light dimmed, replaced by a five-colored glow. The swallow no longer lunged forward, it began to move in tandem with the butterfly. The scene was strange, almost surreal. Yet Wang Lin could clearly see the butterfly itself had dimmed considerably. Even it struggled against such a spell. At last, the blood swallow followed the butterfly back to Wang Lin, but instead of attacking, it hovered beside him. Like a companion, Wang Lin seized the opportunity and retreated without hesitation, the celestial sealing stamp trailing behind him. Blood God let out a cold snort. He stepped forward. With that single step, space behind Wang Lin tore open, forming an impassable rift. A frigid wind howled from within, forcing Wang Lin to halt. He stared at Blood God, his voice cold. "Senior, are you going back on your word?" Blood God's gaze darkened. "So what if I do?" He stepped forward again, not only blocking Wang Lin's path, but also injecting his origin energy into the divine retribution clouds. Instantly, the tribulation intensified. Thunder roared as countless bolts of lightning gathered and descended. Half surged toward Blood God, half toward Wang Lin. The entire region was engulfed in lightning trembling under its overwhelming pressure. Blood God did not even spare it a glance. With a single step, he appeared before Wang Lin. Raising his right hand, he reached out. The motion was simple, unadorned. Yet in Wang Lin's eyes, it was unavoidable, an inescapable grasp. Divine retribution descended. Blood God's hand closed in. At this critical moment, Wang Lin's eyes turned ice-cold as he shouted, "Do you know ancient demon Baylor?" Blood God's body suddenly froze. A demonic light flickered in his eyes. Between his brows, black energy surged as a horned demonic phantom emerged. The instant it appeared, a roar exploded within Wang Lin's origin soul. Baylor, where? The instant the demon emerged, Blood God's body paused. Wang Lin seized that fleeting opportunity without hesitation. His figure retreated swiftly as his hands formed a rapid series of seals. The ancient god furnace flickered, shifting his position 1,000 feet away in an instant, barely evading the descending bolts of divine retribution lightning. Yet the lightning did not dissipate. As though imbued with intelligence, the bolts twisted mid-air, abruptly changing direction. The distance of 1,000 feet, so vast to mortals, was crossed in but a heartbeat. For Wang Lin, however, it was enough. Call the wind. Even in the face of death, his gaze remained calm, unwavering. This time he could only rely on divine retribution, though the chance of survival was slim. Then let it grow even more violent. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. From his right hand, a dense black wind surged forth, coiling around him like a living entity. As the lightning closed in, the wind twisted and roared, transforming into a black dragon that opened its maw and exhaled a frigid, annihilating gale. This wind could extinguish the flames of life itself. Several bolts of divine retribution lightning collapsed upon impact, but not all. Some pierced through, still racing toward him. A sharp glint flashed across Wang Lin's eyes. His origin soul surged outward, devouring the incoming lightning. One bolt, 2, 3. After consuming 3, the strain forced it to retreat. The instant his origin soul returned to his body, the remaining lightning arrived. At that critical moment, the butterfly and the blood swallow rushed forward, intercepting the lightning with their own bodies. Explosions rippled across space. Yet still, 3 bolts broke through. They closed in. Wang Lin's eyes shimmered with a mysterious light. His hand formed a seal, and before him appeared the celestial sealing stamp. Without hesitation, he stepped inside it. At that exact instant, the 3 bolts struck. Boom, boom, boom. Lightning seal. A muffled roar echoed from within the stamp. It trembled violently as lightning surged through it, transforming its interior into a raging sea of thunder. Wang Lin was forced out, coughing up blood. His right hand shot forward, grasping the celestial sealing stamp as he retreated at full speed. The lightning within the stamp had reached its peak. Yet Wang Lin did not flee. Instead, He charged directly toward the divine retribution clouds. With a wave of his hand, golden seals blazed with brilliance. He understood clearly. He could not escape Blood God. Even injured, even weakened Blood God remained far beyond him. But if he could borrow the power of divine retribution, there might still be a path to survival. The demonic figure that had emerged from Blood God fixed Wang Lin with a frigid gaze. Then it shrank back into him, leaving behind a terrifying demonic aura. Blood God stepped forward, his hand reaching toward Wang Lin's head. His intent was clear. He meant to extract Wang Lin's soul and search his memories. Wang Lin's eyes flared. He raised his right hand once more and roared, "Call the wind." The spell erupted again, but this time it was stronger. Before him, two black dragons formed. Before reaching the Nirvana Scryer stage, Wang Lin could summon only one. But now, having stepped beyond, he could call forth two with the full force of his cultivation. The dragons coiled around him, roaring as they exhaled waves of bone-chilling wind. Cracks spread through the surrounding space. The sheer force of the blast threatened to tear reality apart. At the same time, Wang Lin formed another seal. The celestial sealing stamp shone brilliantly as a bolt of divine retribution. Lightning condensed and shot toward Blood God. Without pause, Wang Lin slapped his storage bag. The celestial sword appeared in his hand. He no longer cared for the cost. Heavenly chop, one strike. Then another, then another. He lost count. Each slash tore through space as he unleashed them in a relentless torrent. Yet, Blood God remained calm. With a single motion, he pointed upward. The lightning summoned by the celestial sealing stamp collapsed instantly. He pointed again. The combined force of over 100 heavenly chops shattered under an invisible pressure. A third time, he pointed forward. The cold winds unleashed by the black dragons were annihilated. The two dragons themselves let out mournful cries. Their bodies split apart by an unimaginable force. Celestial Emperor Bai Fan's Call the Wind. Blood God's voice was cold, laced with disdain. Is this all it amounts to? His hand reached forward once more. And then, I, Celestial Lord Qing Shui, dare you to repeat my master's name. A voice cold, heavy, with killing intent, descended like a blade upon the world. The moment it appeared, thunder roared. Space itself collapsed, unable to withstand its weight. Even the divine retribution clouds retreated. The laws invoked by Blood God crumbled instantly. In the distance, Yao Bingyun coughed up blood, his body trembling as terror filled his eyes. Without hesitation, he retreated. Across the southern domain, every cultivator felt it, a killing intent, emanating from the very origin energy of the world. Many coughed blood on the spot. Though not fatal, the impact was undeniable. At the center of it all, Blood God's pupils contracted violently. The black dragon before Wang Lin, once severed, let out a roar and reformed. And among the stars, a young man in white approached. His black hair flowed elegantly. His steps were unhurried. Yet with each step, the world seemed to tremble. For the first time, Blood God's expression changed drastically. Celestial Lord Qing Shui. He withdrew his hand, retreating several steps. His face darkened. Qing Shui walked forward calmly, his expression cold, his voice indifferent. Do you dare repeat those words before me? As he spoke, crimson light surged within his eyes, so dense it spilled outward, carrying a destructive aura that chilled the hearts of all who beheld it. Blood God's eyes flickered with demonic light. Celestial Lord Qing Shui, there is no enmity between us. If my words offended you, I take them back. He paused. Soon we will both head to the Alliance star system. I will make amends then. His gaze sharpened. But this child has a grievance with my Yao family. I hope you will not interfere. Otherwise, it will damage our harmony. Qing Shui did not stop. His voice remained calm. This junior apprentice brother of mine may lack skill. Perhaps he provoked your Yao family. He paused slightly. But even so, what of it? Junior, apprentice brother. Blood God's expression changed once more. Qing Shui raised his right hand and pointed toward the heavens. Instantly, a black wind erupted. It was far more powerful than Wang Lin's dense beyond comprehension. Its roar echoed across the stars as it condensed into 6 colossal black dragons. Each dragon stretched over 100,000 feet. Their presence alone seemed to occupy the entire sky. An overwhelming pressure descended. Even the divine retribution clouds were forced to retreat, though even more gathered as if preparing for an even greater descent. Since he has learned Call the Wind, he is a cross-generational successor of my master. Qing Shui's voice was cold. With his status, forget your Yao family. Even your ancestor would not dare harm a single strand of his hair. He pointed toward Blood God. The 6 dragons roared, opening their massive jaws, unleashing a devastating storm of freezing wind. Blood God's expression darkened. Even he felt the chill. Though it resembled Wang Lin's spell, the difference was like heaven and earth. Without hesitation, Blood God spread his arms. A vast blood mist erupted. From it, blood swallows formed one after another until there were 99 in total. They surged forward like a crimson storm, colliding with the freezing wind. A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. Space between them collapsed. A massive rift tore open, widening into a terrifying abyss. Blood God's body trembled as he retreated rapidly. His gaze locked onto Qing Shui. Qing Sui, I respect you as a celestial lord. Do not push me too far. His voice rose. You have slept too long. Have you lost your senses? Even if Shu Mu learned Call the Wind, how could he be your junior apprentice brother? He has slain multiple third-generation members of my Yao family. Of course I came to kill him. His aura surged. I am not afraid of you. Do not force me. But Blood God did not know. Qing Shui carried a deep, unhealed guilt toward his master. A guilt that could never be repaid. From the moment he saw Wang Lin use Call the Wind, from the moment his memories returned, a complex emotion had taken root within him. Even if he has erred, Qing Shui's voice turned colder. It is for me to discipline him on behalf of Master. You are not qualified. The 6 black dragons roared once more. This time, they merged, becoming a single colossal dragon. It did not breathe wind. Instead, rain began to fall. In an instant, everything within 5,000 kilometers was drenched. Summon the rain. The raindrops were like crystals that emitted brilliant light. At this moment they spread out and dense killing intent appeared. However, what was strange was that these raindrops became like a rain curtain around Wang Lin. Not only did he not feel cold, he felt warmth in his body as the large amount of origin energy he had consumed slowly recovered. Wang Lin stared at everything dumbfoundedly. When he heard Qing Shui's words, Wang Lin silently pondered. As he stared at Qing Shui, a strange, unexplainable feeling appeared in his heart. This was a very strange feeling to him. It was as if it hadn't appeared in his heart for a very long time. However, he vaguely remembered back on planet Suzaku when Sect Master Dun Tian from the Soul Refining Sect gave him this feeling. Then Situ Nan, who was a teacher and a friend, gave him this feeling. Also, the first time he countered the All-Seer when he was attempting to reach the Soul Formation stage, Ju Yi also gave him this feeling. Wang Lin's life adhered to the principle that if others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend others. Likewise, if anyone showed him kindness, even if it was very little, Wang Lin would cherish it. Wang Lin still remembered Dun Tian's kindness. In his heart, he still carries the spirit of the Soul Refining Sect. Wang Lin still remembered Situ Nan's kindness. He didn't hesitate to give away something as precious as the god-slaying war chariot to him. If Situ Nan was in a difficult situation, Wang Lin knew that even if it would result in his death, as long as there was a possibility to save him, he wouldn't back down. This was all because Situ too had showed him kindness. Wang Lin didn't forget Zhou Yi's kindness. In order to repay that kindness, he had done too much. He also owed the All-Seer when he was attempting to reach the Soul Formation stage. It was because of this that he was still indecisive after noticing many clues. It wasn't until the end, when everything was laid before him, that he was forced to walk down the path of revolting against the All-Seer. However, deep down in his heart, there was a trace of sadness that wouldn't disappear. Right now, Qing Shui was standing before him to block Blood God and the divine retribution. All of this for a spell named Call the Wind and an inheritance that didn't even exist. Blood God's expression was very gloomy. At this moment, the raindrops that surrounded him made his mind tremble. He was not as fearless as he showed on the surface. In truth, a few months ago, when he took the blow of an ancient god's shattered star, he was seriously injured. However, he had suppressed it by force and used the secret technique passed down in his family to recover. However, if he was to face Qing Shui now, it would be very dangerous. This was only the first reason. As the head of a cultivation family of descendants of Celestials, he had very complicated feelings toward Celestials. This was especially true for Qing Shui. He clearly remembered Qing Shui being described in the family records, and even their celestial ancestors back then were extremely respectful to Qing Shui. Qing Shui was too famous. Even if Blood God wasn't injured, he wouldn't be confident in winning. Also, after one's cultivation reaches a certain level, either they don't fight or the fight will be earth-shattering. At this moment, the raindrops suddenly moved, creating a sharp whistling sound. Each raindrop contained unimaginable origin energy, and even a trace of very pure energy from the celestial realm. These countless raindrops were like countless swords that charged like crazy toward Blood God. Each raindrop contained a terrifying aura. Just one drop was enough to destroy an ascendant cultivator. 10 drops were enough to kill an illusory yin cultivar. 100 drops could destroy a corporeal yang cultivator. 1,000 drops and even a Nirvana Scryer cultivator had to retreat. When the countless raindrops moved, it was as if they could penetrate law. Even Blood God's mind trembled when facing these countless raindrops. His eyes lit up as he waved his hand, and a thunderous sound that could split open the heavens and earth echoed. The rumbling sound was very shocking as it spread out from Blood God's body. As it left his body, a gust of wind appeared around him. In an instant, it turned into a thunderstorm. He used thunder to create sound. The sound caused the space to vibrate, and this created wind from space. This was the famous thunderstorm created by the celestial spell Sound of Wind. There was a detailed formula for this spell on the 8th floor of the pavilion Wang Lin obtained. Blood God's expression was gloomy as he pointed at the heavens. The surrounding wind quickly spread out. The wind immediately collided with the raindrops, and the surrounding area was filled with rumbling sounds of thunder. Waves of impact scattered, stirring up the surrounding origin energy and causing large amounts of space to collapse. Countless raindrops were pushed back by the thunderstorm and quickly gathered. They formed into a large water curtain that surrounded Blood God. The thunder from the wind moved between the raindrops and quickly spread. In an instant, the surrounding area became a thunder hell. Celestial spell, Sound of Wind. Qing Shui's expression was cold, and he calmly said, "Rain seal." The moment he said those 2 words, the raindrops gave off a penetrating coldness. In an instant, ice crystals began to form, and with them came cracking sounds. The rain immediately turned to ice. The roaring thunderstorm also began to freeze when it touched the raindrops. At this moment, the wind was frozen by the ice, as if it was corporeal, forming a whirlpool-shaped ice dragon. Blood God no longer hesitated, and his hand quickly formed a seal. Heavenly origin energy quickly gathered from all directions and formed a fist-sized ball before his body. His right hand formed another seal, and he quickly pressed it down on the small ball. A violent ripple quickly spread, and the small ball suddenly turned into a crane. It had a red crown, golden feet, and snow-white feathers. The crane immediately flew into the air and circled Blood God. Blood God didn't pause, and the endless heavenly origin energy kept gathering. In the blink of an eye, a total of 9 cranes were formed. The 9 cranes flew as Blood God shouted, "Qing Shu, my Yao family ancestors' thunderstorm can't match your Call the Wind." However, over the countless years, the generations of my Yao family ancestors created a spell. The 9 cranes' eyes instantly turned red, and they gave off a powerful demonic aura. The demonic aura spread out like a storm, and the surrounding ice began to show signs of collapse. This demonic energy was too powerful. At the center, Blood God's hair began to float, and a red vortex appeared between his eyebrows. As it rotated, even more powerful demonic energy came from his body. At this moment, Blood God was no longer a cultivator, but an ancient demon who had occupied a body. Celestial spell Crane's Might. Blood God's eyes gave off a demonic glow like a lamp. As he shouted, the 9 cranes began to dance around Blood God and let out mighty cries. These cries were too harsh and sharp. The cries from the 9 cranes immediately formed a storm and echoed like crazy with unimaginable force. Bang, 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 bang. All the surrounding ice began to collapse and was pushed back. All the ice within 500 kilometers collapsed. For a moment, it was as if the entire world was shrouded in the cries. This sound was so powerful that it seemed to pierce into everything like fine needles. Everything within it quickly disintegrated. Just at this moment, one of the cranes suddenly exploded into countless white feathers. Then an even more powerful cry came from the exploded crane. Shortly after, another crane exploded. In an instant, all 9 cranes exploded and countless feathers spread. This turned into a powerful spell that affected everything within thousands of kilometers. Qing Shui's gaze was still indifferent as he slowly said, "This spell is not bad, just not bad. This old man's Yao family's spell isn't over." Crane's wind roar plants arsenal. Blood God's eyes gave off a demonic glow. As he let out the roar, the red robe around him was blown back, and his hands formed a seal. At this moment, it was as if the entire world had darkened. Plant's arsenal. The countless feathers that flew out suddenly gave off a demonic glow and turned into completely different magical treasures. The arsenal in Plant's arsenal meant weapons. When the spell appeared, the world changed colors and a large amount of space collapsed. It continued to spread 500 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers, 50,000 kilometers. This expansion was extremely crazy, and Blood God was the center. If he was allowed to continue, then the entire southern domain would face a catastrophe. As his spell reached its peak and almost reached Qing Shui, the divine retribution cloud finished its compression. A large amount of clouds disappeared and condensed at the center to form a bolt of 7-colored heavenly thunder. Before this bolt of thunder appeared, it let out a feeling that would make your heart tremble. The 7-colored thunder crashed down instantly. There wasn't just one bolt, there were 7. Red, orange, yellow, green. Blue-purple thunder descended as the divine retribution cloud disappeared. These bolts of thunder contained powerful forces of destruction. Crane's wind-roar plants transformed to weapons. You don't even have your own celestial origin, and you dare to say that you created these celestial spells. Qing Shui's eyes were filled with contempt. He didn't even look at the large amount of feathers covering thousands of kilometers. With one step, he arrived before Wang Lin and looked at the 7 bolts of thunder descending. At this moment, the first bolt of thunder flashed red and descended extremely rapidly from above. However, the moment the red bolt of thunder descended, Qing Shui's eyes released a red glow. A large amount of red light shot out like a net. It devoured the red bolt of thunder in an instant. Qing Shui's right eyes shined bright red as he charged forward toward the second bolt, the orange divine retribution thunder. Once more he devoured it without any hesitation, and the orange divine retribution dissipated. The red light from Qing Shui's right eye became even stronger as he continued to devour the rest of the 7-colored divine retribution thunderbolts without pause. Wang Lin's pupils contracted as he watched all the divine retribution thunderbolts being devoured by the red light from Qing Shui's right eye. Lightning arced across Shui Qing's body, making him look even colder. A dangerous aura came from his body, especially from his right eye. His right eye also gave off an unimaginable red glow that was near blood-colored. Anyone who saw it would tremble. This divine retribution thunder is not bad. It can help my G realm recover a bit. Qing Shui turned around and looked at Wang Lin. Although his gaze was still cold, there was something different about it. Call the Wind, Summon the Rain, and Magical Arsenal are the first three of Master's spell. Now watch carefully. Qing Shui raised his right hand and formed a seal. He pointed ahead, and his eyes revealed a trace of nostalgia. It only took me a few months to understand Call the Wind. As for Summon the Rain, it took me a month. However, Magical Arsenal took me over a century to fully comprehend. Qing Shui sighed as his right hand formed a seal and waved. A crystal light seemed to silently appear when he waved his arms. It caused the countless weapons from Blood God's spell to immediately pause. As Wang Lin watched, he saw the crystal light divide into more lights. One of them turned into an old man. When the old man appeared, a dense death aura came from his body, but powerful origin energy came from his body as well. This caused the old man to give off a strange feeling. Ancient cultivator Meng Mu. I killed this cultivator before entering the celestial realm. At this moment, another crystal light flashed and disappeared. A youth appeared. The youth looked very handsome and also gave off powerful death aura. However, there was also a powerful killing intent coming from him. Ancient cultivator Kang Ran. I killed this cultivator before entering the celestial realm. Ancient cultivator Lu Ji. I killed this cultivator before entering the celestial realm. As Qing Shui spoke, all of the crystal lights disappeared and turned into different figures. Each of them were filled with death aura, but all of them gave off auras that shook Wang Lin's mind. Rank 8 Sky Celestial Chen Feng. I killed this person in the battle of the celestial realm. Rank 8 Sky Celestial Ru Dei. I killed this woman in the battle of deserters. Rank 3 Celestial King Sheng Tianho. I killed this person in the battle at the Wind Celestial Realm. Rank 7 Celestial King Yun Meng. I killed this woman in a battle for supremacy. Qing Shui's eyes were filled with nostalgia. As he spoke, one illusory soul after another appeared. Not only did this cause Wang Lin's eyes to widen, even Blood God was shocked. In particular, the souls of the Celestials were all filled with powerful killing intent and resentment. It was as if they had all died, but were filled with grievance and refused to enter the reincarnation cycle. The moment they appeared, it was as if this place had become purgatory. Rank 9 Celestial King Yao King. I killed this person using the celestial spell Scattered Flow. A celestial soul similar to Blood God appeared, and his body was filled with death aura. The moment he appeared, Blood God's expression changed greatly. Rank 1 Celestial Lord Liu Yun. I killed his person in the battle against the Wind Celestial Lord, Rain Celestial Realm. Rank 3 Celestial Lord Saude. I killed this person in the invasion of the Celestial Realm. Rank 5 Celestial Lord Chen Han. I killed this person in the rebellion. Wind Celestial Realm. Rank 7 Celestial Lord Master Huo Han. I killed this person in the battle of the Ancient Passage. Rain Celestial Realm. Rank 9 Celestial Lord Qing Shuang's first clone. I killed her clone in the Thunder and Rain Celestial Realm War. One by one, the crystal lights disappeared, and one by one, figures appeared. All of them were extremely realistic and contained unimaginable killing intent and grievance that filled the world. In an instant, countless celestial souls surrounded Qing Shui. Wang Lin didn't doubt these people's identities. A large wave was set off in his heart when he saw Qing Shuang's figure. I have killed too much in my life. This magic arsenal spell required me to refine all the killing I have done by extracting their souls from the Yai reincarnation cycle. Then I refined their souls into part of mine. Only then did magic arsenal reach small completion. Qing Shui's voice was very calm, but there was monstrous killing intent within this calmness. Even Wang Lin was shocked by Qing Shui's battle record. As Qing Shui spoke, the countless celestial souls released powerful aura that could turn the world upside down. At this moment, all of them charged toward Blood God. Blood God's face was without a trace of blood. He had never imagined that Celestial Emperor Bai Fan's magic arsenal in the family records was so terrifying. What kind of Celestial Emperor is this? He is clearly a demon god. Blood God quickly retreated. Everything that had occurred made his scalp tingle. The family records did have a section about celestial ancestor Yao King. Although vague, nothing about it mentioned that he died to celestial lord Qing Shui. As he retreated, Blood God's eyes turned blood red, and a demonic glow appeared between his brows, and he shouted, "Plants attack!" The weapons formed by the countless feathers immediately charged out toward the celestial souls. At this moment, rumbles came from everywhere within thousands of kilometers, forming an unimaginable storm that swept the horizon. This level of battle affected the entire southern domain. The collapse of stars had entered an uncontrollable state. The constant roar echoed across the entire southern domain. If this went on for too long, a catastrophe would occur, and it would be unavoidable. Yao Yun had been retreating constantly. His entire body was giving off a demonic glow, resisting the pressure behind Blood God. However, his cultivation was lacking, so was continuously being injured. He became dispirited, and even the demon inside his body was about to collapse. Rumbling sounds echoed as Blood God's spell continued to disintegrate. None of the feathers that had turned into weapons could resist at all, so they all shattered. As Blood God was retreating, a celestial soul appeared before him and exploded. The powerful force from the explosion smashed into Blood God's body. It wasn't just one, countless celestial souls gathered around Blood God. The heaven-shaking killing intent that gathered caused fear to appear in Blood God's eyes for the first time. It had been a long time since he felt the threat of death. Blood God dreaded those several souls that used to be celestial lords the most, because each of them had a terrifying aura. If it was just one of them, Blood God could easily destroy it, and even two wouldn't be an issue. However, he was currently injured, so he couldn't help but end up in a sorry state. "Qing Sui, are you going to kill me?" Blood God's expression was ferocious as he waved his big sleeves. A large amount of origin energy that could collapse the sky and change the laws began to gather like crazy. "So what if I kill you?" With one step, Qing Shui stepped forth and his right hand reached out. Cold energy immediately gathered and formed a mass of black air. Blood God revealed a decisive look as he retreated and arrived next to Yao Yun. His right hand pointed between Yao Yun's eyes. Yao Yun's eyes suddenly bulged and his body rapidly shrank. It was as if his origin, soul, and flesh were being rapidly absorbed by the thing inside his body. A miserable cry came from his mouth and his eyes became bloodshot. However, at this moment the confusion in his eyes had disappeared and revealed a never-before-seen clarity. The shadow of an ancient demon appeared above his head. It was much more solid than before, as it had just devoured some tonic. It quickly flew out of Yao Yun's body. During this process, Yao Yun's body broke down even faster, as he was only skin and bones. His flesh, origin, energy, and even origin soul had been devoured by the ancient demon. Yao Yun's eyes became even more sober, and he revealed a pitiful smile. He remembered the memories he was unable to find for thousands of years. The Yao family no longer exists. His body fell from the stars. As he fell, the soul from the ancient demon rushed out. It carried a powerful demonic aura as it entered Blood God's body. All of this happened in an instant. When Blood God absorbed the ancient demon soul, his body gave off a powerful demonic aura. His eyes glowed as he waved his sleeves and tore the void. There was a tearing sound as a long crack appeared, and an ancient lamp slowly drifted out. "Qing Shui, since you're looking for death, then don't blame this old man for killing a celestial." Blood God's expression was hideous, and a giant illusory body of an ancient demon, dozens of feet tall, appeared before him. Its eyes were blood red as he looked at Qing Shui and let out a silent roar.